There is a law sitting inside the Immigration and Nationality Act right now that could hand out 8 million green cards, and almost nobody is talking about it because the government has quietly kept it broken for the last 39 years on purpose. Welcome back to the Immigration Wire, and if you or someone in your family has been stuck in this system for years with no clear path forward, this next story might be the most important thing you watch all month. It is called the Registry Provision, Section 249 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, and it was written all the way back in 1929, decades before most of today's immigration laws even existed. Here is what it actually does. If you have lived in the United States continuously since a certain cutoff date and you have good moral character, the government can simply register you as a lawful permanent resident. No visa backlog, no waiting in line behind a million other applicants, just a straight path to a green card. Sounds incredible, right? This law exists because lawmakers decades ago understood something simple, that after enough years of living and building a life in this country, deporting someone starts to punish entire families, not just one person. That idea has not disappeared. It is written into federal law today, right now, in 2026. Now, here is the part that is going to make you angry. Congress is supposed to update that cutoff date every so often to keep the law relevant. It has only been updated 4 times since 1929, and the last time anyone touched it was 1986 under President Reagan. That means the current cutoff date is January 1st, 1972. Let that sink in for a second. To qualify for this benefit today, in 2026, you would need to prove you have lived in the United States continuously since before 1972, over half a century ago. Do you understand how insane that is? Between 2015 and 2019, government data shows that a total of just 305 people in the entire country were able to use this provision. 305 out of a nation with more than 11 million undocumented immigrants and millions more stuck in employment and family backlogs. This law was not repealed, it was not eliminated, it was simply frozen in time and left to rot. And almost every immigration channel on this platform has completely ignored it. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I am going to show you the bill that could finally fix this, who it would actually help, and the one massive obstacle standing in the way that nobody is telling you about. California Senator Alex Padilla has been fighting to fix this exact problem, and just weeks ago, on July 27, 2026, he renewed his push for a bill called the Renewing Immigration Provisions of the Immigration Act of 1929. Instead of picking another fixed date that will just become outdated again in a few decades, exactly like 1972 did, this bill proposes something completely different, a rolling registry. Under this system, the cutoff date would not be frozen anymore. Instead, if you have lived in the United States continuously for at least 7 years before you apply, you would automatically qualify no matter what year it is. Think about what that actually means. It means the law updates itself every single year, forever, instead of Congress having to remember to fix it every few decades while millions of lives hang in the balance. Now, let's talk about who this would actually help, because the list is bigger than most people realize. We are talking about dreamers who came here as children and have built their entire lives in this country. We are talking about TPS holders who have lived here for years under temporary protection that could vanish at any moment. We are talking about the children of long-term visa holders who are watching the clock, terrified of aging out of their parents' status and losing everything. And yes, we are talking about highly skilled H-1B workers who have been contributing to the American economy for years but are stuck behind decades-long green card backlogs with no end in sight. Padilla's office estimates this bill could open a legitimate path to permanent residency for over 8 million people. 8 million. That is roughly the population of New York City, all sitting one bill away from finally having a real future in this country. And here is something that should genuinely surprise you. This is not some fringe idea from one senator. The bill is co-led by Senate Democratic Whip Dick Durbin, and it is backed by more than a dozen senators including Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Cory Booker, plus over 30 different organizations that have thrown their support behind it. Now let's quickly talk about what good moral character actually means, because a lot of people hear that phrase and immediately worry it disqualifies them. In practice, this generally looks at your criminal record, whether you have paid taxes, and whether you have been honest with the government. It is not designed to be an impossible bar. It is designed to filter out serious bad actors, not ordinary people who have simply been living their lives. So if the need is this obvious and the support is this strong, why hasn't this already passed? Here is the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud. This is not even a brand new idea. According to Padilla's own office, this exact bill was first introduced a full year ago, back in 2025, and an earlier version goes back to 2022. Every single time, it has died in Congress without ever coming close to a floor vote. The honest reality is that immigration reform bills like this one face a brutal uphill battle, especially in the current political climate where enforcement and restriction are dominating the conversation instead of solutions like this one. Think about the position this puts real families in. Someone could have lived in this country for 15, 20, even 30 years, raised children who are American citizens, paid taxes every single year, built a business or worked the same job for decades, and still have absolutely no legal mechanism to fix their status, simply because they arrived a few decades too late for a cutoff date frozen in 1972. That is not a loophole in the system. That is the entire system failing on purpose. Passing this through both chambers of Congress and getting a signature remains a massive, uncertain hurdle, and nobody can promise you it will happen this year or even next year. But here is why this story still matters right now, even if the bill does not pass immediately. Every time a bill like this gets reintroduced, it puts pressure on lawmakers. It forces the issue back into the public conversation, and history has shown that provisions like this one can and do move forward eventually, sometimes after years of people simply refusing to let the issue die. Right now, the bill still needs to move through committee and earn a spot for an actual vote, and none of that happens quietly. It happens because enough people keep the pressure on. If you are someone who has been living in the United States for 7 years or more without a clear path to a green card, this is not the moment to disappear from the conversation. This is the moment to understand exactly what is being proposed and to keep watching how it develops, because being informed early is always better than finding out after the window has already closed. I want to be completely transparent with you because that is what this channel is built on. Nothing in this video is legal advice, and this bill has not become law, so nothing has changed yet for anyone's actual immigration status today. Immigration law is complicated, it changes fast, and your specific situation could involve details this video simply cannot cover. So before you make any decisions, please sit down with a licensed immigration attorney who can look at your full history and tell you exactly where you stand. If this video opened your eyes to a part of immigration law you had never even heard of, that is exactly why this channel exists, to dig up the details that other channels skip right past. Subscribe if you want to stay ahead of this story as it develops. Drop a comment and tell me if 7 years of continuous residence would apply to you or someone you love, and I will see you in the next one.